Nobody hates double standards more than former Supreme Court clerk Ian Samuel. He is with us now. I'm reading the CNN coverage, right, and watched it. Saves the day for voting rights advocates, ... Trump-appointed justices save the day for voting rights advocates. That wasn't part of it.
No, it wasn't. And I feel like there's been some drop off in the technique these days. You used to hear a lot about the so-called greenhouse effect. And here I'm talking about Linda Greenhouse, who used to cover the Supreme Court. She was a newspaper reporter for the New York Times. And she had this effect on justices back in the like the 90s, where if they did something that was kind of more on the liberal side of things, like Justice Kennedy would hand down an opinion that was favorable to gay rights, he'd get praised to the high heavens, right? And the idea was that, that the press corps, the liberal-leaning press corps, was so friendly and so nice to these justices when they did what they wanted that it could actually start to affect the way they were voting in cases. Now, I'm not sure that ever actually really happened, but it does show that you need carrots and sticks, right? You got to start when Chief Justice Roberts or Justice Kavanaugh, when they write a voting rights opinion like this that you like, you got to say that it shows their high character and their commitment to the rule of law and how they really are just calling balls and strikes and how they're not holding grudges over that nasty confirmation stuff like that. You got to give them some kind of social incentive to cooperate with the way you want to see things, if you believe that the Supreme Court justices operate that way, which I'm not really sure I do.
Okay, so I guess the question is that the public opinion on the Supreme Court, March 2022, approved, disapproved, this is a year ago, 54-45, 2023, a year later, 41-59, right? And that now we can, the big decision between those two data points is Roe, right? Is the Dobbs case. I guess you can read this two ways, right? One is that the Supreme Court is influenced maybe a little bit by public opinion, or simply that you've got commentators who are so in the bag for one side that it kind of doesn't matter if the conservative justices do what they want, they're just never going to give them any credit.
Perhaps I think some of both of that is true. I mean, the reality is, to begin with, the Supreme Court does not have an army. They don't really have that much money. And so as a practical matter, their decisions can only mean anything to the extent that they have legitimacy, in the sense of being accepted as the last word by the political branches of government, who do have things like money and armies. Now, of course, in the United States today, one of the remarkable things about us is that is completely true, right? When the Supreme Court hands down a decision, the president never comes out and says something like, well, I'm just not going to follow that decision. I kind of wondered during the Trump years if maybe that would happen, but it never did. And that's to our credit. Now, what you also point out, which is also true, is that media coverage of the Supreme Court and also the partisan polarization of the electorate as a whole is a lot different than it was, back when, like, my old boss, Justice Scalia, was confirmed like unanimously in a voice vote in the Senate, right? The role of the court in American life has increasingly become one where it is inserted into some of the most divisive social issues that we have, instead of doing dry stuff like statutory interpretation and the Administrative Procedure Act and stuff like that. When Americans thought that the Supreme Court was basically just up there doing lawyers' work, we were kind of happy to leave them alone to their nerd stuff. But if they're going to be up there making moral judgments about divisive social questions, then I think people are going to get the sense that their opinions, their morals, their backgrounds
it's a great
are
point.
just as good.
And I would only add, from the media perspective, you wonder how much of it is, the more we delegitimize the court, being certain commentators, the more likely it is that you can either pack the court or you're going to have a president who says, hey, we can ignore it, on and on. All right, Ian, the big stuff's coming, this being the affirmative action case. When it does, we're counting on you, all right?
Oh, I'll be here with bells on.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.